Last year, this video got 20 million views, and it's pretty easy to see why.
I'm sorry. If you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be harder for you to get a house. We busted our behinds. We had to bust our...
Hi, Whoopi. I'm Freddie. I run numbers on the internet, and I got to show you something. The minimum wage in 1980 was $3.10. It is now $7.25. The average salary was $12,500. It's now $59,000. However, rent was $243 on average. Now it is $1,900 for a 7.8 times increase. The median house price was $47,000. It is now $419,000. And the big one, college, was $2,300. It is now $30,000, 13 times more expensive. With all due respect, I think millennials and Gen Zs have it at least 8 to 10 times harder than you all did.
Look, I can only speak for myself on this, but I'm getting pretty sick and tired of this notion that the only reason why the younger generation, millennials and Gen Z, are not winning at life by this definition is because we're not working hard enough. Like, they have this idea that if we just worked harder, then we wouldn't be in the situation that we are and everything would just be fine. But as you know and as I know, that isn't the case. So in this video, I want to do something a bit different. I normally script my videos completely because my priority is giving you guys the best and most information possible. But today I just want to have a chat with you because I put together the data based on what Freddie presented in his video, except I have adjusted for inflation because then we're actually comparing like for like numbers. And I'm going to provide you the sources of where the numbers came from. Freddie didn't do that. So we're going to look at the numbers, and then after that, I'm going to share with you some of the ideas I've been thinking about over the last couple of months. Because I think you guys will find it interesting and hopefully it might be useful for you. So let's talk about the numbers. I did the numbers for both the US and Australia because Australia is more interesting for me because I live in Australia, but considering that most of you, I believe, are in the States, we're going to have a look at the US data. And I'll throw up the Australian data if you're interested, but here's the US data. So as you can see, almost immediately, the situation that we're in isn't very good. Your minimum wage from 1980 to 2024, once you adjust for inflation, has actually decreased. And that's just fucking insane to me because in Australia, after adjusting for inflation, it has actually doubled for us. So it sucks to be in your country, to be honest. And hopefully most of you are not on, or hopefully all of you are not on minimum wage because that would suck. And then when you look at the median income for the individual and also the household, you can see that it hasn't changed very much over the last 40 years. It's 1.1 times more for the individual and 1.3 times more for the household. I just realized that I misspelled household. I tell you, I keep finding these mistakes after I post things and it pisses me off. So that's something to improve in. More or less, over the last 40 years, your income is pretty much the same. But then when we look at the big expenses, accommodation, housing, and education, you can see that they have increased substantially. Your rent has become twice as much in the last 40 years. Housing prices is almost twice as much. It's 1.8 times. And the thing that everyone tells you to go pursue and get so you can get a high paying job, your degree, is now costing you 4.1 times as much as it did in 1980. This is not good. And I'll put up the Australian data for you now. So if you're interested, you can pause and have a look at it. So there is a reason why I bring this up, and it's more than just to explain that young people are doing it quite tough right now. It's because it's been 2 months since I uploaded that Broken Promise video. That was the first video on my channel that has kind of blown up. And I assume that most of you are watching this video because you've seen that one. And if you're new here, thanks for being here. It's good to have you here. After that video was uploaded for a few weeks, some of my friends noticed that it was doing really well, and so they sent me a message saying, "Josh, your video is doing so well, like you must be really happy." And I replied to them, not as happy as you would expect. Now, don't get me wrong. The overall reception of that video was overwhelmingly positive. Like, it had a 98% like to dislike ratio, which is just crazy for a video of that nature and for a pretty small channel. And I really did enjoy reading through a lot of the comments of you guys describing your situation and your experience. And many of them were quite heartwarming. But there was also quite a high percentage of comments in there that really had this defeatist attitude. And it got me questioning, what type of impact is my content having? Like the videos I put out here, what impact are they having? Are they actually enabling people to take action in their lives and to make a difference? Or are they just trapping people into believing that there is nothing that they can do about this and everything's fucked and they should just give up? So I would actually prefer my videos to get no views than to contribute to something that I thought was harmful. I'm not making these type of videos to get you guys to believe that everything is fucked and there's nothing you can do and that you should give up. Like that is the opposite of what I'm trying to do here. The reason why I think it's important to talk about the problems is because in order to play the game to win, you need to know what the field is. And that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to win the game myself, and I want you guys to win the game as well. But that means we have to really understand what we're up against here. And when I look at this data, there is a clear message that I see. And that is the rate at which everything is getting more expensive is increasing way quicker than the rate that people are increasing their incomes. Basically, what I'm saying is the treadmill is increasing a lot faster than what you can actually run faster. And so you're only going to fall off the treadmill. The thing is, and I'm sorry for just stating the obvious here, you need to make more money, and actually a lot more money, because to live the lifestyle that they lived in 1980, you need to earn double the amount. So you basically need to earn around 150K per year to live at the same level of comfortability as what they did. And the harsh truth is working hard isn't going to get you there, because the thing that everyone seems to forget is every generation has worked hard. Every generation has had it tough. No generation has had it easy. None. What actually makes the difference is choosing the right hard. And I'll give you an example. Back in 1980, 40 years ago, choosing the right hard would have been getting your degree, getting a good job that paid really well, and then you're pretty much set for the rest of your life, assuming that you didn't do anything dumb. That isn't the case for us. Like the game has actually changed. We can't just go to university and get a degree and then hope that our job will pay well enough for us to cover all of our expenses comfortably. Because that's not the reality anymore. Not for most people. Sure, there are some jobs out there that require you to get that particular degree in order to do that work. And you can be paid extraordinarily well for it, and you'll just be fine. Like, that exists. But that's not the average anymore. That's not the standard anymore. If you guys haven't seen a lot of my videos, then you probably don't know that much about me. So I am a chemical engineer. I decided that I wanted to do engineering back when I was like 12 years old, and that was the goal because that's the work that I thought I wanted to do. I wasn't really thinking about money, but I was just trusting the fact that if I got this degree and I became an engineer, then I wouldn't have to really worry about money anymore. I was under the impression that once I had this degree, I could get that high-paying job quite easily and money just wouldn't be a problem. And then I was quite shocked to realize that engineers aren't paid that well at all. And I can't really complain about this too much because I actually left a really high-paying job a couple years after I graduated from uni. I was working at a power plant and the rate there was extremely good, like really, really good. But it wasn't the work that I wanted to do. So I decided that I wanted a challenge and I wanted to do more interesting work. And I decided to move across the country to Adelaide and be at the job that I'm at now. Now, this job hasn't exactly worked out the way I envisioned, but that's okay. That's life. It was for half the money though. And if I stayed there for 3-4 years, then I would be able to afford a house quite easily, like really easily. So I did that to myself. I'm to blame for that decision. Not that I regret it, but that one's on me. But here's the thing though, it's not because I was really strategic about where I was going to work and what was going to pay me well. It was just luck. Like I just was lucky to find myself in that position where I was at a power plant and that just happened to pay really well. Like I had no idea. It literally just fell in my lap. And now I realize that not all engineers are paid like that. In fact, most engineers are paid around what I'm on now. And so here's a really crazy thing. I saw an Instagram post from a guy called Jack Henderson. He's an Aussie. He actually grew up about 10 kilometers away from I did, and we're roughly around the same age. I decided to go to university for 4 or 5 years, get my degree, hoping that I'll land a high-paying engineering job that I would actually enjoy the work of. Meanwhile, when he graduated from high school, he decided not to go to university. Instead, he decided to move up to Newcastle, like I did. But he got into civil construction and was being paid $100,000 per year straight out of high school. Like, no one told me that was even a possibility. Now, I'm not saying that I would have went and done that. I don't think I would have. But the fact that you could leave high school and get into an industry that paid well with basically very little skills at that high of a wage is just crazy. So while Jack was earning pretty good money for his age, he lived in a really cheap share house, saved a lot of it, built up a deposit for a house quite quickly, and then got into property. Now, I can look at Jack's story and myself, and I can probably say that Jack hasn't worked that much harder than what I have, but we worked hard at different things. Like, that's the point that I'm getting at here. We worked hard at different things. So he has a real estate portfolio of 40 million apparently, and I don't. I have a net worth of around 200,000, let's say, which is not insignificant by any means, but it's not enough to avoid this accelerating treadmill. I know that I'm rambling on a little bit here, and I haven't quite learned the skill of talking to the camera off the cuff really succinctly yet, which I'm working on, one of the reasons why I'm filming this one. But the point is, it's not just a matter of working hard. Everyone tells you to work hard, but they rarely tell you what the right thing to work hard at is. Like, you need to pick the right hard. And the problem is that picking the right hard is difficult. Like, it's the most difficult thing that you can choose. Some of the most hardworking people around are researchers at university getting paid basically pennies. And there's a bunch of people out there who are really busting their balls, working hard, trying to make ends meet in rather low paid jobs that's actually important for having our society function the way it does. Like forklift drivers, the people that stack the shelves at supermarkets, and truck drivers and courier drivers and everyone else that I'm not mentioning right now. But like, it's all important work, and it can't just be easily replaced overnight with automation and machines. Like, someone needs to do this work right now. And yet you're going to get, if you're one of them, you're going to get squashed. You are not going to be paid well enough to avoid what's coming. And hard work and what you're choosing right now, choosing is probably even the wrong word. I mean, like, what you're doing right now isn't going to save you no matter how hard you work. And so you need to pick the right hard. And so that's the first idea that I've been thinking about, choosing the right hard. But as we talk about this, it can seem like we are, or I am, rather ungrateful for everything that we do have. And that isn't the case. Like, I am grateful for everything that we do have. I believe that we have so much opportunity to do something about this situation that no one else before us had. And I can also talk about like the data, just how great the world is at the moment on a absolute and historical standard. Like, we've gotten absolute poverty down to like 7%. More people are overweight than underweight. Nearly everyone in the world has access to water, electricity, and internet. On a historical standard and absolute scale, the world has never been better. But we don't live in an absolute world. We live in a relative world. And there's nothing more relevant to us than the problems that we are facing right now, because our brains filter information by relevancy. And so you're going to fixate on the problems that you have, not the global change that we've made over the last, or global progress, I should say, over the last 200 years. That doesn't matter when you have money problems. Gratitude is great. It's important to be grateful. Gratitude will make you happier, but it will not pay your bills. So this is what I think. You can absolutely be angry about the situation that we're in. And you can even see yourself as a victim of this situation that we're in, because this extends beyond just the individual decisions that you have made. And yet you can still be grateful for all the things that you do have. Like last year when I went to Japan, I was able to walk through a castle that Japanese royalty lived in. And I was thinking as I walked through this castle, like, man, my living conditions here is better than what royalty had like 80 years ago. That is incredible, and that is definitely something to be grateful for. And so you can absolutely take both the anger and the gratitude and decide that there is something you can do about it, and that you will do something about it. Because if you're watching my videos, I want you to be watching these because you want to do something about it and you want to take control of your life. So if you're watching this, let's be better than average. Let's not just settle for that average conventional path that was promised to us, which honestly seems just fucking boring, because the real adventure is the problems that we solve in our lives. And I truly believe that if we are strategic about the field that we're playing on, we can solve this problem. At least that I know I can. I have belief in myself that no matter what the situation is, I'm going to figure it out. And I want the same for you. And that brings me to the third idea that I wanted to talk to you about. And it's something that is really missing in the world, I think. If you want people to change, and if you want to change people's mind, then you need to be on their side. So when these older folks talk about us and our problems, it's never from the position of being on our side. It's always from the position of being in the opposition with such condemnation and vitriol. And all it does is just drive people away from the message that they're trying to convey. That you should work hard. Yes, that's true. But you need to work hard at the right things, and you should be grateful for the things that you have. That in its essence is a fairly good message, but they just come at it from the wrong attitude all the time. As I said before, the brain filters information based off of what's relevant and what isn't. And there's nothing more relevant than the problems in your life. So if the older generation are not experiencing the problems that we have as younger people right now, then they're not going to have the same mental model of the world that we do. And the issue is that these models don't automatically update themselves. The problems that you experience in life update the models. So if they're not having the same problems as we have, their models are not going to be updated to ours. And so they're not going to be able to see our perception. Everyone is only looking from their own perception instead of looking at from other people's perspectives. I say this to give you some perspective on what's going on with the older generation's attitude towards us. Even though I think it's unfair, I can understand where they're coming from. So my point is, if you actually want to see change and you want to make a difference, then you need to be on their side. And I'm on your side, always. So that's all for today, my friends. I hope my ramblings have been at least somewhat helpful, hopefully. I'll let YouTube decide what video to watch next if you want to, but I have some pretty cool ones coming up, and I hope you'll be here. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.